Good evening, everybody. Hi, welcome to Juneau Park. Thank you so much for thank you for being here. Really excited this evening to welcome Anada Werner, Alexandria Delcourt, and Steve Timm. So thanks to the three of you for being here. And then I'm sorry to say Andy Grisevich, unable to make it, is under the weather. So Andy, hope you get well soon. Miss you. All right. Thanks to all of you for being here. And huge thanks to the Juneau Park Friends for generous support of this series. This is the last reading of Poetry in the Park for 2025. So yeah, really going to be a nice send-off. Should be a lovely night. Juneau Park Friends, thank you for supporting this season. Wouldn't have been possible, so thank you. And for helping beautify this space. There's a book table over there, so and there's Allison, who can help you with all your book purchasing needs after the reading, so please visit. And then just a few things I want to mention that are upcoming, and then we'll get to the poetry, so it won't take too long, I swear. But it's fall is coming, which for us means a lot of things are going to start happening at Woodland Pattern. Two things this month. One, on Thursday, September 18th at 7 p.m., it is the Formation series for new and improvised music. A wonderful series generally, and you should just come every month for that. It's monthly on the third Thursday. And curated by Jay Mollerskov, is here with us this evening. Hey Jay, thanks. In particular, so generally, wonderful series, great music. This one in particular features poets who are accompanied by improvising musicians. The poets will be Anja Naranja Seeger, Louis Friedman, Rick Ullman, Blue Lotus, and Jay Mollerskov. And then the musicians are Mark Mantell, Timothy Russell, and Pat Reinholtz. Jay's done organized now. This will be the third of these that you've organized. Is that, yeah? And they're always really wonderful. The interplay between the musicians and the poets is, yeah, compelling and a lot of fun. So that is Thursday, September 18th at 7 p.m. Saturday, September 20th at 3 p.m., we're going to welcome poet C.A. Conrad. They're going to be there for a reading and also to sort of celebrate an installation of a poem in the window, and we'll have a reception and good times and good company. And so yes, C.A. Conrad, the 20th at 3 p.m. The last thing I want to mention is it's almost time for the Poetry Marathon registration to open. Can you believe it? So October 1st, registration for the Poetry Marathon will open. The Poetry Marathon itself is going to take place January 24th and 25th at St. Kate once again, which is where we were last year. So we'll be back there again, and keep an eye out for more details, but I hope you'll consider joining us for that pretty phenomenal, swell, fun time that we have every year. So come read your poems, enjoy the poems of others, and enjoy the surreality of just listening to people share their poems for like 24 hours over 2 days, and the sort of exhaustion that creeps in. The fun exhaustion. It's a fun kind of exhaustion that we can all share. Okay. I told you it wouldn't take too long. I feel like I lied about that. But that's it. Those are the announcements. And now it's just poetry. So really excited to welcome first up Anada Werner, who is a Madison resident, a bookseller, and a freelance conduit to the spirit of the Midwest. Her debut chapbook, Punt, which is at that table right there and is really fantastic, was released in the spring of 2024 and marks her second occasion in print, the first having belonged to a single blue ribbon poem in the third grade. Anada, thank you for being here and welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anada. Oh, I'm terrible with microphones. Thank you for being here. I'm going to read a few things from my chapbook, and then I'm going to read a few other things as well. Not any yellow whim, but real capital. August concerns. Me, I'm talking. They are taking me seriously. They are loving me. They go zing, there is vim. But the entity gets in, and it's beefy. It's hammered and needs to know the Wi-Fi password. No joke, in fact of it squats and is petty as well. So we offer real capital and love to see its jumbo quality. Thank you. From a stubborn angle, the photographer is able to arrest a spangle of abandon bounced amidst an instant. The duty of the photographer is slippery but involves hearing me out, no undue conclusions. After is the space where an image might be, certainly a likeness. I'm certain the photographer gets romantic too, over a plate of spaghetti with a memory. Normally the gate browns open. Sorry, no. Grips tighten into fists around nickels. But not uncommon to flatten and careen into, to hear a brown step upon the stair, to dine upon a brown, to be a blonde and brown. Sometimes you do see the brown day that hands down the mercy, the lawless palm that doles it. Ten lonely rotations to the center of an adoration. Meatloaf spat out of hell is my Orphic nut. Like a sinner but without and in opposition to. A rhythmic writhing with bats contagious me. We know there won't be another moment after this crawling on back. I'm at you. Please feel it. All of my real ones are meat, and they know the tight moment is here with loaf, and we sweat at the back door. Winched on the noon hook towards my kicks, the hour is a shapely crook, the hour loves the wick. The hand wants for the mitt, the knife slipped from my grasp. The age was young. In conclusion, I was like, on a flat surface, figure the barley, cock a melon pose. Presently, stalks pop a grave to breathe the whammy of content. Nimbus spit twin violets, and a twig's confidence in my step is also a special balm of trust. From this tack, my greener life's ankle sparkles. New and dim-witted, the day pitches a dummy sigh, and things go. Lord, let me be exempt from aspect, as I am exempt from her sleeve. She lives to the extent of the state and holds a fishing license. When the hour has been swept to a spare purr, you'll find her beneath a larch at the sunset hem. Here's a quick trip on Sun Valley Drive, not too busy for my conspiracies. When Janet locked her keys below the backseat of her Malibu, everyone was so nice to her. I smile bigly in the chip aisle. I observe a panty line take form between the wiper fluid and the earplugs, freezer fizz and pop. Outside in American fluorescence is the promise of anonymity, and a combustive pleasure coats my teeth. Please God, forgive us. Desire's agate heart resists the drill of method and vision the bridle. We laid on our backs and thought about being it, while the odds cooked, the barbecue invite yodeling a warrant of pardon. The day that was the surface of the sun beat our earth within an inch of its life. Lipstick melted in the tube and the seas became hot bowls of soup. Every face exploded so no one knew anyone. The earth's brown skin cooked and rosy kernels popped along its crust. Earth's lips curled back and its teeth were so white. The clouds were bread, The trees were still trees, but barely. Salt shooted from the sky, and it might have been Christmas. The good died and the bad died. My favorite restaurant at the time was Petey's, and they burnt up that day too. In the cracked asphalt, who directs my step? The Lord of abandoned success, breaking into my car, eating my leftover pasta, taking forever to finish his coffee. The Lord of abandoned success, skinning his knee, wanting me back, a wooden degenerate. Tug as I do at the lead of hope that fixes me to your stake. My attention is guttered in a toward way, and my thoughts return to you like a dog. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anada. One second. And here we go. Next up, it's a pleasure to welcome Alexandria Delcourt, who received her MFA from the Stonecoast MFA Program in Creative Writing in 2014. She taught English and Creative Writing at UW-Whitewater for 8 years and now works as the editor for Our Lives magazine and runs the Isthmus Writing Workshops in Madison, Wisconsin. Her work has appeared in Narrative Magazine, Wisconsin People and Ideas Magazine, New American Press, Profane Journal, Cream City Review, Split Rock Review, and many others. Alexandria, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Hi. Okay, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I'm going to do a couple of things tonight. I'm going to start with 3 that are a little bit longer, but they are part of a series that are kind of a longer narrative about a trip I took to the Philippines with my family for my grandfather's funeral. So those are like their own thing. And then I'm going to pivot and do something different after those. So, okay. And it was Christmas also. Yeah, okay. This is called the Marcos Highway. For Christmas, the stars have descended from the perches of night to hang like dusty dreams from the ceiling, streamers of yellow and blue dangling below in the humid breeze next to dried meat, candy, bananas. The war never ended here, merely hid itself in the violent heat, disguised the sky as a tangle of black wire, crept up onto the sides of buildings like ghostly handprints. In the middle of it all, you sit beneath a cracked Coca-Cola sign by the roadside like some strange postcard I might have picked up in a consignment shop. I take a picture of the sign, your ripped cargo shorts, and in it you look contemplative. I assume you're thinking of your family and how far away you are for the holiday, though I never do ask. The rest of us crowd into the van like chickens, breathing sweat, trying to swim the space between America and here, as if thousands of miles could fit into a single human skull without the stretching involved in atomic expansion. Enough to pull the heavens down, to twist time into a rope and a rope into a noose. Outside the tinted windows, the deep jungle falls away into desert as we rise above the clouds, arrive beneath unexpected pine, birch, everything upside down, all of us and you somehow surviving. The funeral. The graves were strange, stacked akimbo like mismatched blocks, like stairs to a place that is all directions at once, a free place, with black grime climbing its painted walls, white plaster, holding cells adorned with Juliet balconies, and cellophane stained glass windows. The old women carried umbrellas that filtered the sun, turned the ground red and blue beneath our procession, your second death march. I couldn't stop staring at those umbrellas, how they floated like lanterns on stagnant water, like some heaven suspended above us, unquestioned by you or anyone else. That heaven is full of blooming steam, of shoeless children marshaled around fried chicken carts, and wrinkled men on plastic patio chairs playing chess beneath maroon awnings, their cold colas dripping humidity, stained ochre from dust or smears of clay. After the prayers, the priest spoke to the new widow. A stray dog crossed our path, and you left to wait in the van. Later, you told me about the time you rode on top of a speeding bus, how your hands, frozen and dew-soaked, played against the mountain wind, gripped the metal luggage racks tight around the sharp curves. You've ached for that kind of freedom ever since then, but this place does get pretty close, with its young men on motorcycles, blinking in and out of low-wattage streetlights, echoes of carolers on Christmas Eve, veggies boiling in metal pots, ancient people rendered in twisted wrought iron, woven willow scattered sunlight like lace over slatted bamboo floors, its golden warmth refreshing like water pouring gently over our upturned faces. The mausoleum. The mausoleum was stark and white, a geometric marvel of should-be clean walls, doorways that roared silent like stoic grief, or maybe absent grief. Your shoe heel caught on the too perfect step, and I saw you stumble, the fringed shawl draped over your shoulders, swaying like broad-leafed tree branches, verdant in their enthusiasm, which, in this moment, probably felt more like mocking than anything. None of the Lolas sitting on the sidewalk below, tending their tatted blankets, laden with fly-covered fruit and little woven baskets, looked up at your mishap. Nobody rushed forward to your aid, not the family walking a second or two behind, not the small boy with darting eyes squatting by the makeshift cage full of dyed red chicks, and certainly not me. In all honesty, I didn't even know where I was just then, or even whether I was just then, just that my swollen legs continued impossibly through the heavy air, and just that the looming wall of small drawers containing the spent ashes of lives, and lives ascended surprisingly high like a ladder, and just that it was strange how the vigil was divided like a wedding, with their side over there and our side over here, and an aisle down the middle, only instead of a processional, it was an excision. A small glass-fronted box sitting between gilded columns, decorated with dragons and stars, and for some reason, red carpet, folding chairs, plastic bags full of warm bottled water, a stranger fanning herself between fits of crying, a rattling vent, cracked plaster, waxy skin, whispers and muttering that filled too many hours. And then, after all that time and nothingness, how we simply left, just like that. No big speeches, no one last looks, just a redirection of sorts, a next thing to do, a checked box, a job done, a pushing forward, nothing left but memory and some new sudden forever. Thank you. Okay, that was a bummer. So, the next few that I'm going to do, actually the last few that I'm going to do, is kind of my ode to this time of year. I always find, I don't know if this is true for you, but I always find that at the end of summer, beginning of fall, it's like all this stuff has been happening, and then there's just this like hush that happens. Everything gets a little bit quiet, and I stop saying things, and I start feeling like I want to stay home and not do things. So this is kind of about that quiet feeling that, you know, I never feel like I'm going to want it, but then I do. So maybe you can relate. Okay. When time can't seem to stop passing. I feel the thought already brewing, taking shape perhaps, or rooting like an errant weed, lost in its accidental burial, calling for attention like a sunflower head seeking the sun, at once a silent scream, a brush of yellow falling across the woven canvas of your shoulder, and at the same time a monsoon of whisper rising and rising somewhere inside, a place that should be familiar. Outside my window, two cardinals sail between chipping porch rails, one chasing one, and then the other, and back again, over and over, in the bent light. Little explosions of red like dashes of heartbeats, or, I don't know, silence, interrupted by unexpected laughter. Still, I can't help but think about the wood beneath their little bird feet, how it was there long before this moment, observing patiently this one's first flight and that one's nightly rest in the nearby cedar, and how it is there now, the prickle of discovery, of coincidence and collision, wearing its faded paint more and more and more with each new wing. And of course, how it will stay, upright as it was meant to be, entombed in concrete well below the swollen earth's topsoil, long after the two birds have met, sat together, and then flown away, maybe forgetting each other entirely, or maybe remembering. Oh, thanks. The things we don't say, part 1. Like how circling prey and dancing are actually the same thing, each blossoming from patterns of ending to life and life again, eventually. Or like how static can pulse in the small shake that lingers when fingertips nearly but don't quite touch each other, circumnavigating, tracing circles of air like windmills, forever chasing what's right before them, unable to move from their lofty pedestals. Or like how magnets will repel on one end, even as the other breaks beautifully for nearness, how you tried to feed me from your palm, my face turning away before realizing it didn't want to, or how the right words only come hours later, in the hush of starlight, when you might be asleep or awake or both. I want to taste the space between your thoughts, to feel its morning light, languid with possibility, clamor against my teeth. I want for it to shape my speaking, for the cadence of my voice to tumble through the half-lived truths, the way ambling days unfold in the aftermath of poignant dreams, the kind in which I can't remember which lies I spoke and which ones I didn't, but nevertheless wake again with the sweetness of it all still lingering somewhere I can feel but can never quite seem to name. Thanks. 2 more. It's called The Cicada. The lobby was warm. The horde of waiting parents slumped on blocky gray benches, leaning over phones or picking their acid green press-ons, anything to avoid the grainy CCTV live stream of our pink leotard-wrapped toddlers tiptoeing back and forth across the quiet dance studio, waving their amber and red scarves like spring petals in a terrible gale. I was sitting in front, legs crossed, searching for the specific proportions I knew to be my child's, my hands restless, pulling the threads of blue from my sweater sleeve, as if maybe she could feel me pulling her arm even from that distance. Listen to your teacher, I would have said if allowed in that room. I would have patted her back, gently nudged her toward the group. Go on, do what the other kids are doing, I would say. But instead, I watched her stand in the corner, only her little hair bun visible on the screen, untethered to the instruction or the prompting. Occasionally, she'd run wildly to the opposite wall or the mirror, or go hang from the balance bars where the older girls practiced their disciplined grand pliés, each rogue jaunt painting an unwelcome apology that I recognized but didn't mean to feel somewhere behind my belly. And maybe I should have put her in daycare after all, I thought, remembering something I'd read about getting them used to structure early, wondering if I've condemned her to 18 years of detentions, or worse, loneliness. The hangnail I was pulling at started to bleed. I shook my hand out like a leaf, looked back up, but I couldn't see her. In my confusion, missing that she had vacated her corner and was now leaping on all fours like a frog across a row of multi-hued, movable floor dots, one in a long parade of laughing, pink, bun-headed amphibians. When the class ended, the kids fell from the hall like a river rushing into a quiet delta. "Mama," she yelled, "did you see? I listened to my teacher, and I didn't take my shoes off." "Yeah, honey," I said, "you did great. I'm so proud of you." She was smiling big and toothy, golden in the 5 o'clock window light, and already trading her ballet slippers for purple Crocs. But like any mother, I know my child. I knew that beneath the teeth and the giggling, she was searching too, scanning my face like I scanned the screen for any angle or wrinkle of disappointment there, worrying that if spotted, it would be because she put it there, not understanding that it had been there long before her time, that it would continue being there long after we packed up her little bag and walked out the glass doors back to the car, the late summer wind waving the branches overhead, while somewhere nearby, a cicada started screaming. Thank you. All right, last one. Summer tangle. At the end of summer, there we still sat, yoked to the slanted light, like hands cuffed to the metal walls of time, the wheel a beautiful black Mariah speeding down a Midwest highway, overgrown corn heavy on one shoulder and autumn sighing on the other. The silent horizon loomed violet, but in the car evening was everywhere, its gap-toothed laughter ricocheting wildly and uncontrolled as we drove, each bend in the road a new joke, renewing the deep ache in our cheeks and chests and bellies in that way that only happens right before the unavoidable hush descends. And I wondered, what does it mean to be loved? Not merely to be enjoyed or included, but to be known so deeply that you suddenly crave the quiet of coming winter, to chop the pile of waiting wood, set the kindling in the grate, carry the strike of a single match in your mind as each new morning spreads itself across the kitchen table and the lip of last night's water glass, over the sleeping dog's paws and down the frozen river. And what does it mean to have done the loving, to have kneaded the bread the night before, watched a woodpecker disappear into the hole it drummed in the side of your house, and then tucked your child in to sleep at 8? And further still, what does it mean to sit and wonder as the wind dances lines in the grass, and the purple coneflowers shed their petals to blanket the hibernating bees, and the weeds that survived in the yard find their own secret ways to rest, and the traffic quiets on the thoroughfare, and all that's left is the white iris of the moon and your own head loud with echoes and echoes and echoes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. All right, closing things out this evening, it's a pleasure to welcome Steve Timm, who is the author most recently of Ornithocracy and Rule of Composition, 100 Poems Written to the Cecil Taylor Field Trio's 2 T's for Lovely Tea, some of the poems of which will appear in a forthcoming anthology of writing about Cecil Taylor. Steve is also a sound poet and recently performed in Woodland Patterns Formation Series for New and Improvised Music, September 18th, 7 p.m. He lives in Madison, Wisconsin with his wife, Sherry Bernstein, and son Alex, who finds his poems interesting. Steve, thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks to Woodland Pattern, Lewis and the gang, founder. It's great to be here, great to be asked. It's nice to be had. And thanks to Alexandria and Anada for an amazing reading. It's really an honor to get to finish this off and kick you all out of the park until next summer. So, okay. So Andy couldn't be here, and I'd recently written a poem for him and told him, oh, should be here? Not hearing me? I'm used to being told to be quiet.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Anyway, Andy can't be here, and I told him I'd read this poem for him. He and his family had gone to Germany this summer. They came back. We didn't communicate. Instead, I wrote this poem. It's called Return. Hi in the what you cookin'? How's your Aunt Vita saying in her bum Lego? Stretch a mitochondria since the preve. Which way did it? You is gonna be gonna? Who'd the militating in the intervene? The jury run of the rejujunery. No one budged a pedal in the regnum nether, nor a sooth that wasn't left unsought for. But how was the suds pie and shoddy noun caps? And what do we do now with these unwritten letters and oceans to cross off before we schlep? So that poem is part of a series, a thing I'm working on now called Words for Poems. It's a working title, although it may not work. Anyway, so I'm going to read you the very newest one from it, which is sort of risky, but you know, what are you going to do, fire me? So I have Parkinson's, and one of the things that happens supposedly when you have Parkinson's is you get peripheral hallucinations. I don't think I've been there yet, so along with me, please ignore the crows over here. But that comes in here. I also just last Friday got my hearing aids, first time ever. So this poem came out of that stuff. It's called Origin. Was that a Parkinson's delision, a sonary flotator out the corner of the aid? Cochlear strumpet on a vine? All right, I'm dumb asking. There were aware folks who said, don't read the news no more. What good'll the bad it'll do you? Turn to my ear dumpster, tuned into it like Ishin, or a trombone playing the Verity Raga. Say to yourself right there, little Twella, and I'll stain you the Falian lyric. Whole mess of cropsichords. Went strolling, corpses were called, and nannies went mussing, parameters seized, measuring, and there will be a hallelujah, like a contrasect compositor, ooped and gold and daddled, a panda gyre, to the gods and the remanger. Folks, it wore a yellow ribosome round a knowledge stream, and there was me in the splendor of it, still clacking awry at that very earth's syllable, twixt magma and terra central, and gummed if I hadn't Rumpelstilted pond, the heirloom of speech. So now we're at the part where the poems really, there's no point in explaining stuff, so I'll just reel off a few of them. Then a little later I'll do one of the Cecil poems, and then a little sonic goodbye. Trade. Let a kangaroo be your umbrella, Chalice. Money's right. These are Larsonic times, Ace. Uneven capillarian. What's the conjure for then? The monger. Sweet even. Hip embeds. Guns for gunning. Reverends for revving. Ships for listening. More spionable than ever then. Surveyable. Surveillably wailable. Miracles in supporta. Heart ticks. Aches. Ashes. Necessaries. Worth the fleeing. Scape of the morning to ya. Morning. At ya. Last of the old days. Dereliction. Jury deselection. Bayonets, of course. This was all the usual banter at the Oshkosh kibosh. He-bobs on the kibachi for flares. Inchalante delicio for cuffs. And the sweetest little Joey Desperanto clone clowning for free rebar. Not exactly, but dialing drums up. That's the life? Chiasm. Swinging, analogy, dawns a dance, dan, and now that what to stound on, and the non-dawn, absolvent magnetonutrinosity, poured through, poured over for porous flaws or flouts, a purest porosity, we leak, we sieves, we permeance, we impermanence, comes up surnealism, absolvent, purporosity, majesticated this erosity, or most the knees or form orreries, or for the peri-universe's length, or stretch a dimensions dimensions, unqua unctions, bow us, we down inflexed, or are we now announced in or announced, or simply transluce, because as Ra says, it's after the end of the world. Don't you know that yet? All right. This one's called News. I like making up bar names and having creatures variously verb their way into them. So that shows up here. News. I shiver with the ole reconnoissance, strove into the old reconnoiter, and perchance to quas de biracles, the somewhat like a which upended no more hair in a combo over afflictionado on a groomy Tuesday. My sands, these were less than francs. What? That sanitarized my splints and harried away my proprioceptic pen a chillin when the codicil de craven ardor I croit, being half enclosed to death. Spoons, man, sway day. As unseen as e'er by her manicules, be they knouted as they knelt their dubs and noint shoyed wild the trumpet and pitched their little belittles against their onery selves. That was discovery, and down the handbasket hill we careered and careened and uncarousing set on 'em like the inhumans they saw to be. 'Twas an ought rot or so, spleens to me, back when Doppler was a cockeye sliming ring for hope. Now let's get a little more political. This is called Rule. Yiminy Sands dollar cricket poetician came across in his cruise dinghy name of Mike Chickweed, Yeppery, the old stumperoonie in a nuts hell, broker in his low mains apostrophilia, never Hamville and burglar just tether another side of the Mudrabutta, got your neithers right cheery prorated, plowed magnonite, widower's turnstile for a tongue, fistful of chucklewood plugs in his poachet for the more meters, right there where the harbor borealis grew. Oh, this here is epical, all right. The epicist evangelisation, the squirbled world ever did not wetner so much as off the rump-tire strafe gilding and untire fleece of infanticendiaries and corn-plied lawfacers did dangle. Hell, cried Yemeni, if it ain't one archy, it's another, and the glamour wasn't the only smothery. Dosty done at the Jamhuri below ya. Where do you think extinction got rejuvenated? I better hurry up. The applause is going. Well, we can skip a few more. Oh, I have to do this one. Even though Roberta Harrison's not here, it's basically about him. The poem is, it's a combination, the title is a combination of two words with parentheses involved, kind of like the title of Roberto's first tropical lung book, which comes up in here. Maybe into all roads lead to Roberto Harrison, but wow, I've been reading his tropical lung books that address everything in existence, especially the soul of life in this world, and it seems to come from Panama, like him, like amazing surrealism into my mind from his. 3 roads. 1, I came across Jose Camilo Sela, a writer of whom I became aware because of Roberto. I still remember his saying that the 1936 book was so Baroque, his Nobel Prize speech. 2, this afternoon I took and opened Blaise Cendrar's collected poems to Panama. 3, recently Andy Gracevich said I needed to read Frank O'Hara's Biotherm, and I did, and then the day Lady died. And I recalled when I told Roberto that Cecil Taylor had died, when he hadn't known, and actually this one was 2, since it was O'Hara that led me to reread Cendrar's, because I feel a shared casualness of tone, and their shared life-noticing urgently affinity. That so many roads lead to Roberto is not surprising. Read the lung. And even more so if you know him, luckily I do. I would say more, but tropical lungs exists. The S's are both in parentheses, snake hiss, exists, as do I. And so I was called to, and thank you, I say needlessly, to the machine taking my dictation, which is not to say dictation, a law, Spicer. It's funny what the machine knows, even ridiculous. And weren't it so ridiculous, one would feel embarrassed for it, but reluctantly my Martians tell me else. Postscript, I do not know why the machine favors past tense, so nearly ironic it seemed. See, they're getting clearer now, aren't they? Oh, here's another one of those fake bar poems. Potosi, oh, it's called Voice, in case you care. Even, actually, it's called Voice even if you don't care. That's the interesting thing about it. Okay. Potosi Cletus strudled into the fracas bawtry for 6 of the huge and a half dozen straight and unchaste of their furnished gurgles. Swarms, he cries, a torchfork and bailing room to the best juniper serrator in the tripartite aerial, though he meant denial. Went slam and dust to a riverside with a chaw of Zanzibar ginger in his upper bicuticle. He splat versus the ornery bloomament. Give it back. Winds were there, were they? No. Wounds and the orrery of 8 balls being enacted in rhythmic trills and genuflections. Fangs, strumbled on, these worldly gigs, tire knuckle at Rock Plain, that was used to be getting places. Tremor mill panache, de gouache, sinistra, like if one used the correct homophone. Spardner, I wroth, miserly, just when the voice on the PA system went missing. I am a was a good damn. Oh, it's getting dark, eh? That's me. I have the power. Okay. Then I should move on. I will now do... Oh, wait, I have to do one little love thing because it's poetry. You know? This is called Hub. Ooh, the wind's picking up, too. The wind is against us. Hub. The aforementioned wrote thanks on a dollar signed plungy sachem dodler dot and tease. Just this underbell with a misery zipper. Frangs, show us your truths and twangs. Mark your accidentals with a lichened scleritude. Dimonishing nocturnes of seraphity, snails and escargots. The time, discriminate muchos, the chime. If you had to pick a language, if serendipitized was an anthem in affliction, if the powers who am caught you, bellow, and Simbas pranced the light bombastic, baby, I'd still have to love you the way I do. Now I'm going to do one of the Cecil Taylor poems, and then improvise, and then we can. Okay. It's called Proximal. This section of the work had 2 tracks. Okay. Anyway, stand to ear on end loved of kinds, mortal crust. Okay to say you, heartier, musket width, smooth brainment, devilerer o dedammer, ungosh missize and betroyed fang, stammerungerer, bring broader, whose brother and hume wheels to the cloud wreck might thrown. Then they there them varies and trees of theros, a sup, a seep, tones to the heat tones, glowing frantic, but soaky, deal, all gwode I, Wayne, tag along, and juice asky, and adorn the flip a line, do what tramble means what you, there's the old who witch again, the lips sweep, shagurgatory, oh, yerd suckle limbs, oh, stir anvil up hick, of anorical liaisons, sick, lame, axe climb, the worldly mondamity of hexatic geometrices. Wait, there's more. So queered by, so cued by sonical of sodware, my sweat, spausing holy self was a gainable, would stilly he still unstill, this wood gaudy pounding of notes, no one heaver imagined, Cecil, Sora, hemes of crow gel, and peahen siring, syringal furtitudes, and imputitudes of almighty uvulavoxa. I'm almost over. Never cold, never lumsy avarician of the so and z, the old zoanzy, zickle and zive, scyther and seed, goddesses and gropteras. I hear, the organs curry cripe holographies, seal orchids and granite apps, peeled for roots, a puff or the crone strow, figurative, dative stamens of his locks with their keys of ferret flames. I don't know why anyone would be you are waiting for what, this the music, Jack. And the echoes go. Got you covered. you all. Thank you all. Thanks for coming. Oh, and if you buy any of my books, I donate all my proceeds to the store. So buy them up quick, and it's your way to donate. Then you can resell it on eBay.
Thank you so much, Steve. Bringing the tent down. What a night. What a way to cap the season. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you, Alexandria. Thank you, Anada. One more time. Yeah. And to all of you, and to the Juneau Park Friends, this lovely place. So we won't be back here until June, but we'll be at Woodland Pattern in the interim. So come see us there, and then look forward to another season next summer. Good night, everybody. Thanks.